Let's go. We got this. We got this. We got this. Oh. Okay. Just about to walk in the radio. Mm-hmm. 3, 2, 1. Happy Wednesday all, and thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Dating Apps with me, CJ. You may have known that this show has actually been going on for, this would be the official 21st episode, but on YouTube, it's actually the 3rd. So there's quite a few little celebrations here, personally for me, but also I had to make an episode where you guys get to know me a bit more and understand me a bit more. And I'm trying to, again, transition from being on radio and live to recording it and then producing it and putting it on YouTube, where you're watching this right now. So today's episode is Beyond the Dating Apps with me, CJ, and more of a who am I and why am I here and why do I say the stuff I say and am I even qualified to even say the stuff I'm saying? And I thought it'd be really good to answer some questions I've had and give you a bit about me and who I am, and hopefully gain a community of people from this, which is the whole point of this, is about gathering all of the people that actually want to date with intention and be done with the bullshit of the dating and relationship world currently, and come together and join forces and have like this secure army of singles. Anyway, I digress. So that's the point of today's show, and I'll be completely honest, I don't like talking about myself. I would rather talk about a subject where someone else has done that instead of talk about myself, but I felt it was necessary, so I'm going to do that. I did want to also mention that, and again, I know I'm on YouTube and I understand that, but I posted a TikTok video and it was a cut from Am I the A-hole from last week, and it was the one where the woman faked her orgasms with the guy she's been seeing, and I really wanted to just talk about that quickly because it just made me smile and give me hope and optimism that, like, there is so many people out there that don't play games and do date with intention and will tell you how they feel and what they want from you. And it was so refreshing. So the video itself was, am I the a-hole for faking orgasms with a guy? And yeah, okay, so a typical subject, and the comments, and it blew up. I didn't expect it to be seen as far as it was seen. But the comments were where I was just smiling. There were so many people, both sexes, the men speaking up saying, yes, please let us know what you want from us in sex. And the women speaking up and saying, I felt this way because when I gave feedback, it didn't go down well. And it was just this massive, like 400 comments, massive thread of both sexes trying to help each other out. And I had to mention it because it just made me so happy and so grateful to be able to give that space and that conversation. And that's exactly what I wanted when I started dabbling in this world. So I just wanted to do a shout out to the TikTok community because honestly, you smashed it, absolutely smashed it. I was so proud that we came together and tried to help each other out, which is all I ever wanted. So going back to the episode. My logic here is if you're going to spend, however long with me every week, then you might as well know who I am, who you're listening to, and why I'm so passionate about dating and relationships, and also being done with this whole weird BS that we've created in these areas of life. Because I don't feel like it's necessary. I feel like it could be so much easier because we all want the same thing. Anyway, so that was my logic. Also, I love love. I grew up loving love, and I see so much negative content, as I always pipe on about, of love and dating, and there's like psychology tricks and how to like get people to like you, and you've got so many different worlds that for me, I just wanted to throw out that like there's positives, and there's so many positives to dating and finding yourself and finding your human and working on that relationship, that I thought, why not talk about why I love doing this and why I love talking about it, and why I decided to put myself on YouTube, a podcast channel, to talk about it following the radio. As mentioned, I don't usually talk about myself as such. I try to, give enough, but also refrain from talking about myself. But it is needed, and people need to see this, and I'm so for sharing that right now. And as I said, I want to engage and inspire with people. So let's get into this. I didn't even label this anything. I just said me, because I really was asking the opinions of others of how I go about talking about my story, because it's something I've had to do quite a few times, especially from setting up the business. For me, I feel like that I had to really think, as I said, I had to really think about how I'm going to word this, how much information. I'm an open book a lot of the time, and how I give you this information without giving you too much, So I thought, give you the basics. So I'm from Plymouth, UK. I was born here. I moved away. I moved to North Devon and travelled Devon a little bit as a child. So got around the area, and from a very young age was very aware that my parents shouldn't have been together. And again, I smile about it because it's so who I am now. Like, I can look at people and be like, oh my gosh, okay, I can see your relationship, and it fascinated me from a very young age. So that was me from a young age. I'm the eldest of 5 as well, so that typical eldest daughter syndrome is me wrapped up. I am quite serious. I do take charge. Whether that's meaning to or not. I am that typical oldest daughter. I also give a shit and care and want the world to be better, not only for other people, but also for my daughter. And I guess all of this literally stems down to becoming a parent and wanting better for her. So that's kind of like the basics. Eldest daughter, big family, parents shouldn't have been together, and boom, relationships during all of this time. So from the age of 16, I was in long-term relationships. I never stopped being in relationships. And that was consistent up until 2019, which is where my relationship broke down with my daughter's dad. And naively, and I know this is common, but naively, when you first enter dating, if you've not done it like in the new age, in modern dating, naively, I thought this would be easy. I thought I'd find a partner, and I was clueless to the work I needed to do in myself as well. So that was interesting. So 2019, relationship breakdown, naively hit the dating apps and excitedly set up a profile. And again, I've only done long-term relationships. And that's kind of happened quite fluid. So you meet someone, it was like the old school way. So you met someone, you liked them, you started hanging out, and then you were together. And sometimes a conversation wasn't even needed. So that's how a lot of my relationships began. Dating apps and modern dating was absolutely new to me. I did start hitting self-development in the early stages. So I think what happened is I hit the dating world, then I hit self-development, and it was quite a lot. And from there, I quickly learned that I had a lot to do on myself, on my insecurities, on my attachment style, on how I act when I'm upset or angry or feel disrespected. I needed to learn all of this, and without wanting to, was given this time and opportunity to learn all of this about myself, and in turn have it reflected back at me in dating. So I was speaking about this to friends because I've got a very dear friend that's heard from start to finish, from 2019 to now, my dating history. And actually, we had a discussion last night where I was like, I've had a very wonderful dating history. I think because at the beginning, I really hit home with, how am I behaving? How am I showing up? Do I like them? And really trying to change how I saw myself and saw relationships. Again, a lot of work. I come from people pleasing and anxious attachment. So all of these little behaviors and saying no, and if someone, is not reciprocating behaviors, that I pull away and not fixate on it and not try and hammer in. So there was lots going on in a very short space of time, but at the same time, I can look back now at the last 6 years and go, wow, I was very fortunate that I had so many gurus online that I followed. I also then threw myself into becoming a qualified relationship therapist, which, again, because relationships and dating are my favorite subject, I was like, this is amazing. This is going to help me understand humans more. I then did Matthew Hussey courses, which is the #1 dating coach. I've done sex therapy. I threw myself into body language and understanding micro expressions. I tried to educate myself so I could fully understand how we build healthier relationships than what I grew up with. So much. Like, it's so difficult to pinpoint exactly when change happened. But what I did write down is how the the how and why I am where I am, which is standing in front of you and speaking about dating and relationships and telling you all we can do better, but it's by our own actions. And the only way I could really do that was by sharing with you everyone that I have took knowledge and experience and tests from, and massively been a part of every world possible, from the heavy incel world to the red pill world to the extreme feminist world. I really tried to spread myself out and learn from everyone and figure out me. And in dating, that actually betrayed in me dating completely outside of my type, my culture, my class. Like, I was able to really test what works for me in a relationship. What do I want from a relationship? What am I willing to give in a relationship, by listening to these great humans? So I obviously don't need to add to you all that from 2019, from dating apps were around 2010 they started, but we were still quite judgmental. So let's say lockdown 2019 onwards, and maybe Love Island's influence in that as well. Dating and relationships completely changed, and I really felt that we went so negative. So for me, it was about surrounding myself with the content and the people that were inspiring me to do better and bringing me optimism in a landscape that seemed so dire and damn miserable. So I'm going to just list off some names to you, and you would have heard some of them. You might not have heard of all of them. They're all on YouTube. They're all on Spotify. And they all have their different reasons of why they're brilliant. And again, not all of them are liked. Some of them would be classed as red pill, whatever, manosphere world, whatever you want to call it. But I think what's best to try and understand yourself is just to be open to everyone and take what you like from everyone. So a saying just came into my head then, you saw it, and it was Alex Hormozy, the good shit sticks. And if you open yourself up to listening to everyone's story, you can really understand what works for you. So I'm going to list them off. They are in no order of my favorite, because I was sat there like, there's so many people, but I just wanted to really hit home where my experience in education and the people that I was constantly surrounding myself with, or jumping on courses with, or going on their lives with them, like just understanding them. So firstly, Jay Shetty. For anyone that doesn't know, he went to go off to become a monk. He did it every summer during his childhood. He came here very working class, and he was in the corporate world. He then, as I said, become a monk and came back and helped people by having certain guests on his show and being an incredible interviewer, that he was able to really get the guests that the best bits from the guests. And I really enjoyed Jay Shetty. Again, he doesn't seem to favoritize any sort of person or industry. However, he is very heavy on healthy relationships and how we grow them. So please check out Jay Shetty on podcast on purpose. There we go. Cool. Next, we have Esther Perel. I'm a massive fan of this woman. She is a worldwide known sex psychologist, relationship therapist. I'm just going to categorize her as everything. She's very straight talking. She hits home for both sexes, and I think that's really important, that both sexes are heard during this time, during dating and relationships. Brilliant. Next, Adam Lane Smith. So this man is brilliant to listen to, is able to break down really complicated human behaviors and give you simple solutions, is able to call you out without being too harsh. And again, any time he's been a guest on anyone's podcast, I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to him. Next is a bit controversial, I think. Scott Galloway. He's a massive data analyst. He has studied relationships and the stats and the data. He's very much seen, I think, in the manosphere world, the red pill world. But again, please just be open to listening and taking what you need to take from it. The next one, you're going to feel the same, Fresh and Fit. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Fresh and Fit is a podcast where they have different sorts of shows, but how I got introduced to them was that they have women on their podcast and they're asking questions. They kind of really helped me understand that we as society were really aiming towards this like 6-foot trust fund man in finance. Like that was what I was hearing from not only American women but British women as well. So Fresh and Fit helped me see something else that I wasn't expecting. Okay, next, Matthew Hussey. So massively got into him. I would say he's more female relatable. However, he really, really is able to explain in a very short space of time how someone might be feeling, and then also give you tips on how to take that further. And he's got a brilliant team around him that we all love listening to. So Matthew Hussey, another one. Okay, like again, guys, because there's so many, but at the same time, they're so important. Okay, next we have Louise Perry, brilliant journalist. She's on Substack. She's awesome. She's done so many different sort of interviews and podcast guesting that I got sucked into her through talk of evolutionary dating and relationships, and hearing her take as a woman was really helpful. So again, Louise Perry. Then we got Gillian Tarecki, another woman, brilliant with dating and relationships. We got Connor Beaton. He, again, does a podcast called Man Talks. He, for me, is someone I always recommend to men to have, because I do truly believe that men need men and women need women to support each other. Next, Jordan Peterson is Do I need to say anything else? Chris Williamson, obviously, his podcast, Modern Wisdom, has introduced me to so many amazing, incredible people I would have never heard of or seen. Also, I just relate to him. I relate to that man. Everyone knows I have a massive crush on this human. Next, Lewis Howe. He was an ex-American football player turned self-help coach, and the rawness and honesty this man brings to this planet, I've seen how it not only impacts but affects men around him, and then allows other men to just release shit. Sometimes you just need to let go of stuff, and the only way to do that is by talking. Okay, next. Most recently, I've really been into Dr. Orion Taraban. He does psych hacks on YouTube, and he is not everyone's cup of tea, but at the same time, his breakdown of psychology, human behavior, his passion for us to do better really sold me on him. I'm a massive fan. And then my last one, this isn't really dating and relationship. However, his relationship with his wife has this like couple goal element where the working together and the no BS and understanding and working towards a desired goal was something that he talks about a lot and I really admire. So Alex Hormozy is another one. Alex and Leela Hormozy. So for me, like, over the last, what are we on now, 6 years? Over the last 6 years of not only studying how to have better relationships or how to help people have better relationships, or to host singles nights that require effort and time given and quality of matches, I try to do everything and tick boxes in every area of the industry to help us see that it isn't all doom and gloom, and actually it's all on us and our behaviours. And it all comes from a place of really deep down believing from a young age that the person you choose as your romantic partner, whoever, your romantic partner, your significant other, is so powerful. And then as I grow up, I get to see actually it really does define your happiness and your longevity, and they influence you, and you can create a healthy, desirable, sexy relationship. You've just got to choose it every day and work on yourself at the same time. So all of these people, whether it's the extreme red pill or whether it's just the the blue pill neutral ground, they all played a part in how I became someone I would want to date. And that's always something I ask people when I first meet them or when I meet clients, would you date you? And most people say no. And going back to 2019, early 2020, I would have said no to. So much, isn't it? It's so much. Like, it's interesting how we get into stuff. So how all of this then brings us to 2025. I really felt that the dating industry, from what I was experiencing, what I paid for, what I saw, wasn't really helping people. It was more dragging out a process that could have been done a lot quicker. And the reason for this was not only financial gain, but it was also the fact that we seemed to be, not only in romantic, but professional and personal, we seem to be unable to give feedback. I freaked out then. To give feedback. And it was really confusing, because to receive negative, positive feedback is surely coming from a place of love. And my kind of no fluff, no bullshit sergeant major approach to coaching people or inspiring people or calling people out, because sometimes you are the problem, and sometimes you need to hear that from someone that gives a shit about you. So for me, it was about like testing stuff that I had learned and educated myself on, putting it to practice in my own dating experience, and then going, how can I use my most favorite subject to help the world and help myself in turn. And it was very much, as you see now, talking to you about everything I've learned and experienced. And yeah, 2025, I'm finally doing something that I really wanted to do, which was to have a podcast where I talk about these weird and wonderful things in relationships and dating, and try to bring some joy to it and excitement once again to dating. It's always going to be hard. And I think that we're in an era where we're like, it's never been so hard. It's like, it's always been hard, and it's always been hard for men. I won't go, there's so many episodes and there's so much time to be able to go into detail, but I am someone that likes being around that male-orientated, solution-based brain. And I think that's why I'm so called, as you see from my list, from the men, whether that's Scott Galloway, whether that's Adam Lane Smith, Chris Williamson. I like hearing the man's perspective from it. And I think that's why I was like more pushed into trying to empower men again and help them in dating. But again, this is something I'm not going to go into. I've already been chatting to you for 26 minutes. So I thought, let's run through. That's kind of my story. And then you'll hear quickly some hills I'm willing to die on, because they're brilliant and I find it funny and I love to have debates about this. So I thought, do some hills I'm willing to die on. Am I the arsehole? And you have completed the show about me, which is still really uncomfortable, as you can see. Okay, hills I'm willing to die on. And this has been something I've followed from 2019 because I thought this was normal. Okay, I believe that we should put all our eggs in one basket at the beginning. So, for example, if you have matched with someone on a dating app, you pause your account, and until that match shows you that they are not a match anymore, you stay on pause. So you are only speaking to one person at a time. Now, my logic with this is that we are in a hookup culture era. People are not committing to each other. You're advised by many, many people to have your options open and to, have a rota. Like, we want commitment. If you have commitment in early dating, you are at peace of mind that you're both seeing each other for who you are. You're not comparing each other. So, eggs in one basket. I'm all for it. And I've really felt, and I've done this from the whole time, I've really felt at the end of any, relationship, dating stage, that I was me and I was, whether they were loyal or not, I was loyal, and that really stood for me. Next, no drinking and no meals on a first date. I know that people are going to be like, Sheree, CJ, that's low value. It really isn't. Wasting my time is low value. And for me, going for a walk on a first date and walking side by each other and not being permanently opposite each other in a gaze and not being able to get an eye break from them, going for a walk and feeling each other out, even if you want to call it like a pre-date, just to feel each other out, I really stand by that we should be using our time well. And I honestly do think that we know when we know, and we know when it's not based on an insecurity. We know if we would like to see that person again from that, and you can dedicate more time from that point. Next. If unsure after a first date, go on a second. Now, I'm not alone on this, thank gosh. I really feel that the nerves of a first date, there's so much pressure, and not just from society or their self, like from the internet. Like, there's so much pressure for males and females to perform on that first date, that if it's not a fuck no, go on a second date and just see, because I find people more relaxed. I find conversation more flowy, and I really do believe that you're giving that person a real chance to show you who they are in that time. So please. And then my last one, which is like my biggest one. Can we stop ghosting people? Difficult conversations are a part of life, and the damage, both physically and mentally, that comes from ghosting, it needs to stop, guys. It really needs to stop. There was a time, and I bang on about this all the time, there was a time that you were judged and reprimanded by your friends and family if you text someone to break up with them. That was only 15 years ago. And now we're in an era where your friends, your family, your co-workers, the internet validate the fact that you've ghosted someone because you don't want a difficult conversation. You have AI, you have Google, you have TikTok. There are so many platforms that you can create a message to end a situation, relationship, without creating and leaving long-term damage with someone. And I speak from experience. I have been ghosted so many times, and it is painful, and it takes time to get over. And it doesn't matter how much work you do on yourself, it still stings. So I definitely would like us to behave better and stop ghosting and just cutting things off when they're ready to cut off. There we go. The hills I'm willing to die on. Right, we're going to carry on. Am I the a-hole? These do really well. My mate's been with his fiance for 5 years. Big wedding. I RSVP'd, yes. Bought a suit and sorted the travel. 2 weeks before, this girl I've been seeing for about 14 days invites me to a weekend away. I decide that obviously more important I decide that's obviously more important, and text my mate, sorry, can't make it, something came up. No apology, no explanation. He's now not speaking to me. Am I the a-hole for picking a fling over a lifelong mate's big day? Yes. We don't need to give you more time. We are halfway through, next one. We are halfway through a nice date. Cocktails are flowing, conversation's good. She goes to the loo. I check my phone. In the 45 seconds she's away, I open Hinge, swipe a bit, and answer some Insta DMs from other girls. Why am I reading this? Answer some Instagram DMs from other girls. She comes back just as I'm switching tabs. She asks if I'm swiping mid-date. I laugh and say, it's not that deep. We're not exclusive. Am I the a-hole for multitasking? This is normal. I really hope people understand this is normal behavior. The amount of people that are on dates and swiping still, it goes back to the eggs in one basket. Okay, like, yes, you're the a-hole. Right, I'll do one more and we'll close this up. It's been fed. We're doing all right. I forgot my towel at the gym. My mate's towel is on the bench, freshly used but not soaking. I'm about to shower, so I figure it's just a bit of clean sweat, right? And dry it off of it. He sees me, goes absolutely mental, says it's disgusting. I tell him it's basically water. You're just overreacting. Am I the a-hole for thinking sweat's not that big a deal? Mate, COVID. You can't do that, okay? I get it, but no, it's not appropriate. get sent them and just like whack them in and just read them. So nothing to do with dating, but that is Am I the A-hole for this week. And again, I don't think you can question any of them. They are the A-hole. I'm not even... You disagree with me, please. Okay, we got through this. Guys, it's been really an experience and I have enjoyed it, and I hope you have too. And I hope that you've learned something about me that you didn't know, or you see how excitable I get about talking about my favourite subject, and the passion that I really want everyone to feel, and excitement and joy when it comes to dating. Please, if you've got an opinion of today's topics, or you have a situation you would like me to answer and give my opinion of, please email me at cj.lgio@hotmail.com. Otherwise, subscribe, like, share, love, and I will see you next week.